If you ever get attacked or find yourself in a potentially violent situation, your body will dump adrenaline into your system. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if you know how to handle it, but often people don't, and that's where they come unstuck. Your fine motor skills go first. So anything that involves complex movements, such as a nice fancy little 5-step finger wrist lock thing, or anything that's overly complex, that's gone, it's out the window. Your body is in survival mode, and that means it's prepared to deal with big gross motor movements. So running, jumping, climbing, big physical strikes, not complex little fine motor movements. Tunnel vision will often kick in, so that's great for laser focus on what's right in front of you. But what if the person in front of you isn't the only issue? What if they've got people with them? What if there's other things in your immediate environment that you need to be aware of? An exit, some other form of danger, other people getting involved, people you've got to protect. You will have that really intense feeling that you want to run, and often that's a good strategy to keep yourself safe. However, freeze is a big problem. You could be there thinking, right, I'm going to deal with this, and then there's a million thoughts going through your head. There's information overload, you're taking in what's happening in front of you, you're thinking of the consequences, and all the adrenaline and everything going on causes you to freeze. The only way really to prepare for this is desensitization. You've got to get comfortable to a certain degree in the chaotic, crazy environment of a self-protection situation. This way your brain will stop treating it so much as a shock and more as something which it is familiar with dealing with, and you get the job done. You also need to pressure test in your training, whether it's at the lower end of the scale, just having someone doing it with a bit of resistance when you're working slower to work on technique, to the other end of the scale where you've got someone fully padded up who is throwing full power strikes at you and you're throwing full power strikes back. You've got to be familiar with noise, with chaos, with resistance, stressful conditions, variable conditions, not just training in a gym with a compliant partner who's just going to do something very static and very familiar. You've got to take yourself out of your comfort zone, obviously within the realms of safe training. A word on sparring. Now, sparring is great. It develops attributes, it develops physical, mental toughness. It's brilliant for a number of things. However, sparring is sparring, and it's preparing you for a sparring-like scenario. A street altercation is not necessarily going to be like that, where you're both going to square off and have a match fight. You can spar as much as you like. However, you go out and you get in some sort of street situation, some nutter comes out of nowhere and starts threatening you or whatever. You might be used to sparring, this isn't the same context, and it makes you feel unfamiliar. It makes you not want to be there, and you start experiencing the adrenaline rush. So you have to train scenarios, you have to prepare for that. You have to train where there is someone giving you some verbal, giving you some physical aggression in the terms of body language and posturing, maybe trying to push you, swear at you. You train up for it. You don't just throw a beginner in, like start swearing at them, doing something horrible to them. It all needs deliberate practice. Conscious practice, working at different ranges and speeds and intensity levels, looking at where you're going wrong and where you're going right and making improvements until it's all subconsciously downloaded. Always ask yourself, if you do have an interest in realistic training for self-protection, does my training replicate what I might experience on the street?